Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just dive right in, because this one is designed for a very, very specific experience. We're talking about that silent, intimate, and honestly, sometimes totally unbearable moment when something deep inside you just starts to scream. You might not even have a name for it yet, right? But you feel this internal crack. It's like an invisible rupture, separating who you actually are from the person you've been pretending to be for years. If you're feeling that right now, trust me, you are exactly where you need to be today. So, let's confront this head on. Are you living or are you just existing? If you've been carrying around this heavy sense of dissociation or this nagging existential dread, like you're somehow just watching your own life play out from the outside, I need you to know it's not a coincidence. It is a profound, absolutely inevitable wake-up call. Your conscious mind simply doesn't have the answers anymore. Those daily routines you've built, they just aren't cutting it. And your unconscious mind is literally demanding your attention.
All right, Section 1, the illusion of normal. To really get why this happens, we have to take a hard look at what we actually call normal. Because, let's be real, a normal life is so often just an automated existence. It's a life completely shaped by other people's expectations, worn-out social roles, and societal promises that, well, somehow never quite materialize. From day one, we're taught to seek stability, to blend in, to not make a fuss. But here's the kicker. Being normal or common is absolutely not the same thing as being healthy. A common life is compliant. It's numbed out by routine, even if society pats you on the back for it. But a healthy life, according to the psychology we're digging into today, a healthy life is authentic. It's aligned with your inner truth, even if it totally disrupts the status quo.
The legendary psychologist Carl Jung actually hit the nail on the head here. He warned us that the absolute greatest threat to the individual soul isn't madness or misery, it's massification. We get turned into these statistical cogs in a machine, living out scripts that aren't even ours, completely on autopilot. So if your daily routine makes you feel like you're suffocating, that is not a defect in you. No way. It's a silent scream from your psyche, desperately trying to wake you up to the fact that this artificial life just isn't yours.
And what's truly insidious about all this is how the system actually keeps us in check. It literally rewards your obedience. You give up your freedom, and in exchange, you get these tiny, calculated dopamine hits. You know exactly what I mean. Netflix binges, food delivery right to your door, endlessly chasing social media likes, grabbing on to this false sense of belonging, or obsessing over superficial productivity. It's a massive collective lie. It creates this cozy illusion of security, but really, it's just anesthetizing your soul so you never stop to ask if you're actually truly alive.
Moving on to Section 2, the call to individuation.
Okay, so what happens when that societal anesthesia finally wears off? Well, the pain sets in. But we have to completely flip the script on what your suffering actually means. It's fascinating how different these two views are. Society looks at your distress and says, oh, that's a defect. That's an illness. We need to medicate away so you can get back to work. But Jung viewed pain as a critical sign to be deciphered. Your despair, your chronic fatigue, that heavy feeling of just not belonging anywhere, they aren't signs that you're broken. They are the symbolic language of your own psyche telling you, hey, this current version of your life has reached its expiration date, and it's time to let it crumble. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that your pain is actively pushing you toward what Jung called individuation. Basically, it's a process where your soul just goes on strike. It flat out refuses to wear those fake, constructed masks for one more day. It demands that you shed the false persona, integrate your hidden truths, and become the person you were always meant to be. Which means, actually, think about this for a second. You don't need to fix yourself to go back to being normal. You need to free yourself so you can actually move forward.
Now, your ego is definitely going to resist this. It hates change. And when it fights back, your unconscious responds with these very specific symptoms. We're talking anxiety, insomnia, heavy apathy, sudden bouts of anger, total confusion. We usually treat these things as massive roadblocks, right? But the truth is, they are the path. They are the exact mechanisms forcing you to stop running, to question absolutely everything, and to finally look inward.
Jung literally did not mince words about this. He said, the unlived life is a disease from which one can die. Just let that sink in. Millions of people out there are dying a slow death every single day, completely trapped in stories they never even wrote for themselves. Accepting that this deep, heavy malaise is actually the starting line for real transformation, that is the very first step to curing the disease. All right, Section 3, Synchronicity and Hidden Signs.
So, what happens when your outer reality actually starts mirroring this massive inner transformation? It's called synchronicity. Have you ever had a book practically fall off the shelf into your hands or overheard a conversation that struck the exact chord you needed at the perfect moment? Honestly, the fact that you clicked on this explainer today, right when you're feeling that internal crack, that's synchronicity. Your unconscious isn't just a dusty storage bin for old memories and trauma. It's a brilliant, living intelligence. Right now, your soul is actively magnetizing the exact keys it needs to break out of its internal prison.
The stakes with this stuff are incredibly high. Jung famously pointed out that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will just quietly direct your life from the shadows and you'll just shrug and call it fate. But when you start tuning in, when you actually listen to its whispers and notice the synchronicities, it stops being this scary hidden enemy and turns into a subtle, incredibly powerful ally, guiding you straight toward authenticity.
Which brings us to Section 4, Confronting the Inner Dragon. Okay, so knowing all this in your head is one thing, but taking action? That means diving headfirst into the unknown. Jung compared this to confronting your inner dragon, which he called the shadow. The shadow is all those hidden, messy parts of yourself. The repressed emotions, the unhealed traumas, the dark impulses, the desires you completely deny. To cross the threshold into real life, you have to face it. And fair warning, your ego is going to throw a massive tantrum. It will try to convince you you're losing your mind, that you aren't ready, and that if you look at this shadow, you'll lose everything you've worked for. Your ego is terrified of this symbolic death, even more than it fears physical pain. But here's the secret. That intense terror you feel when you face your shadow, it is not a red light telling you to turn back. It's a guardian at the gate. It is the definitive marker proving you are standing in exactly the right place, mere inches away from your true self. Real, vibrant life is waiting right on the other side of that fear.
Finally, Section 5, Radical Responsibility. And this brings us to the toughest, but honestly most liberating truth of this entire explainer, the absolute necessity of radical responsibility. Simply put, no one is coming to save you. Waiting around for a guru to enlighten you, waiting for your partner to magically change, waiting for the perfect time to start your life, those are just childish traps designed by the collective unconscious. The system profits off your passivity. But while your ego is cowardly and just wants to stay tucked away in familiar misery, your soul desperately wants to live. And that healing? It depends 100% on you.
So, here is your personal map for the internal hero's journey. Step 1, acknowledge the crack. Don't look away from it. Step 2, stop outsourcing your freedom to society, your boss, or your relationships. Take it back. And step 3, cross straight through the fear into authenticity. You don't need to be fully ready to take this leap. Honestly, no one ever is. You just need to be tired enough of the lie to stop playing the victim and brave enough to rebuild your life with dignity, entirely on your own terms. I want to leave you with one final provocative question to really chew on today. The vivid, authentic life you actually came here to live. It is waiting so patiently for you just on the other side of your fear. That invisible boundary keeping you stuck isn't made of a lack of money or bad timing or bad luck. It's just made of fear. So the choice is entirely yours. Are you going to keep dragging yourself through an automated life that literally makes you sick? Or will you make the conscious decision today to cross over? Because your real journey begins the exact second you decide it does.